Let's bring in one of our favorite guests, well-timed, and a man, by the way, who does not nearly get enough credit for calling many recent market moves, including the rally that we have had the last few weeks. You remember back on this very show on May 20th, this man urged everybody to stay calm, remain optimistic long-term. Since that appearance, the S&P 500 is up just under 9%. Craig Johnson, Chief Market Technician at Piper Sandler. Craig, great to have you back on. You've made some great calls. This rally was one of them. Now we're staring down the face of a 500-point down day. One day does not a trend make, I know, but are you seeing any cracks or fragility in this recent run that we have had?
All right. Thanks, Brian. Thanks for having me back on the show, and thanks for recognizing the hard work that we've been doing here at Piper Sandler. Now, the question that I think about, putting this in the context of our trading desk, right? Like, what have you done for me lately? So we've made the call off the bottom. Where do we go from here? And I want to remind people on a couple things. Typically, coming off of major lows like we saw there in March, we typically get at least 4-5% pullbacks before the ultimate exhaustion of the uptrend plays out. And I think this is perhaps one of these little short-term pullbacks that we're going to get in the market. And Brian, I think we need to be buying that dip. Now, also, I brought in one chart, and this is one of the things that I was looking at when we're making that call for the lows back in March. And that is a chart looking at the S&P 500. We like to look at things on a weekly basis. So we basically made a 40-week moving average, made that the zero line, plotted the market around it. And Brian, the one thing that we saw that gave us the confidence to step up to buy the market was the fact that we were trading about 25% below a 40-week moving average on the S&P 500. Brian, that is something that has only happened 5 times since 1970. And when you look at that chart, it's a V bottom. And not a W, not anything else, not an L, it's a V bottom. And that's where you want to step up, take your shot, and buy stocks. And that's just one part of our
that's only happened.
Process,
okay, so let's be. No, it's great, and we're gonna go back and forth on numbers here. So that's only happened 5 times since 1970. But Craig, how about this? We've only had 4 times where we've had a global pandemic in the last 100 years: 1918, 1957, 1968, and of course now. So can you look at charts the same way, given that, we're starting to see concerns about, oh, watch out Arizona, watch out Texas. Some of the virus data is ticking up slowly.
Absolutely. You get fear, you get greed. Those emotions don't change. And that's what makes charts so important, so that you can frame up the perspective of how either oversold, overbought you ultimately are. But Brian, the one thing that I want to say about this chart and why I think people are going to buy the dip is you go back and you look at that chart, and every single time you've traded between 20-25% below that 40-week moving average. On the advance up, you have moved anywhere between 15 and 20% above the 40-week moving average before the advance is over. And that would suggest that the S&P is going to trade at somewhere between 3,450 and 3,600, which is our year-end objective, before the move is ultimately over and complete.
All right, sticking by that long-term target. Now, let's get some opportunity, because to your point, you're supposed to buy low and sell high, or buy high and sell higher, Craig. So 2 of your picks, ironically, one from your hometown and one from mine. Let's start with yours. Best buy. What do you like in the charts of BBY?
So what I like about the charts is we're continuing to see a nice series of higher highs and higher lows in that chart. We're moving back above the moving averages, and we're seeing a nice consistent recovery off the bottoms. So this is a kind of stock that I like to find. I want to find stocks that are poised to break out back to the new highs and continue to push ahead. And that's what I like about the best buy.